First, welcome to our deep dive, where we unpack whether paying a $10,000 buyout to keep a low-rate home during divorce is truly worth it. We will evaluate the financial trade-offs, the stability benefits for family life, and the long-term implications compared to selling and renting. By the end, you will have a structured framework to make a confident decision aligned with both your wallet and your well-being. Next, here is the roadmap for today. We will begin with the low-rate advantage and why today's cheapest asset is your mortgage interest rate. Then we will cover the stability premium of staying near support networks, followed by a reality check on renting. After that, we will review key numbers, walk through a decision flow and mind map, and give you an actionable step-by-step plan. We will also test your understanding with quick quizzes, and finally deliver a verdict and summary. Before we go further, a brief but important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal, tax, mortgage, or financial advice. Since divorce and real estate decisions are highly personal and jurisdiction-specific, you should consult with a family law attorney, a CPA, and a licensed mortgage professional. Use the frameworks and numbers here as a starting point to ask better questions with your advisors. Now, let's examine the low-rate advantage. If your current mortgage rate is below 5%, preserving that loan through an assumption or refinance should be a major financial priority. A $10,000 buyout to keep a low-interest loan tied to hundreds of thousands in principal is often a bargain compared to the extra interest you would pay at higher market rates later. Additionally, selling usually incurs substantial transaction costs that can wipe out much of your equity. Then, if you re-enter the market, you are likely to face a significantly higher rate, raising your monthly payment and total interest paid. Therefore, treat your low-rate mortgage as a valuable asset in itself. Meanwhile, the stability premium often goes underappreciated. Living near immediate family can provide reliable childcare and emotional support, reduce commuting time and costs, and decrease daily stress. For children adapting to shared custody, remaining in the same home and neighborhood can offer comforting continuity during a challenging transition. When these factors are monetized, childcare savings, fewer miles driven, fewer schedule disruptions, the overall benefit can easily outweigh the apparent savings of moving to a cheaper rental further away. Moreover, renting often appears attractive due to lower immediate housing expense, but it offers no equity accumulation and exposes you to potential annual rent increases. You also have less control over the space, maintenance timelines, and the long-term stability of your living arrangement. If the mortgage payment is tight, consider short-term solutions, such as renting a spare room. This can bridge a budget gap without sacrificing your low-rate loan or your family's stability. Next, let's compare the two main paths. Keeping the home preserves your low-rate mortgage and relies on a one-time buyout expense, potentially mitigated by a temporary roommate. It also maintains your proximity to family support and preserves long-term equity growth. By contrast, selling can erode equity through transaction costs and push you into renting or a future purchase at a higher interest rate. Renting means no equity and possible annual price increases, plus potential loss of support networks and more instability during custody transitions. Additionally, consider a simplified 5-year snapshot to illustrate directional differences. In this example, keeping the home at approximately a 3.5% rate results in a $2,400 monthly housing cost, plus modest maintenance, totaling roughly $148,000 over 5 years. Renting at $1,200 per month appears cheaper at about $78,000 over 5 years, though it builds no equity. Rebuying later at around 7% could cost about $3,200 per month plus maintenance, totaling roughly $196,000 over 5 years. These figures are illustrative only. Your actual costs will vary. The key is comparing the time-weighted cost of capital and the equity you retain or forgo. Then, follow this decision flowchart. If your mortgage rate is below 5%, your default should be to keep the loan. Next, test your budget. If it is too tight, consider adding a roommate as a bridge solution. If your rate advantage is weaker, reassess by weighing the strength of your support network and the likely cost of re-entering the market later at higher rates. This flow reduces emotion and organizes the decision into concrete steps. Afterward, examine this pie chart to visualize how costs stack up over a 5-year horizon. Principal and interest dominate the picture, especially at higher rates, while taxes and insurance form a secondary layer. Maintenance is meaningful but predictable. Transaction and moving costs, though episodic, can materially reduce equity when selling. Visualizing the distribution helps underscore why preserving a low rate can have an outsized impact on total outlay. Next, here is your first quiz question. If you have a 3.5% mortgage and can keep it by paying a $10,000 buyout, what is the most financially defensible default action? Option A, sell now to lock in rental savings. Option B, keep the loan and consider a short-term roommate if needed. Option C, rebuy later at market rate. Option D, move regardless to reset emotionally. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. Now, the correct answer is B. Keep the loan and consider a short-term roommate if needed. Preserving a low interest rate offers large, long-term savings relative to the one-time buyout cost, and a temporary roommate can address near-term cash flow constraints while maintaining the low-rate asset. Next, your second quiz question. Which non-monetary factor can quietly outweigh a lower rent on paper? Option A, apartment amenities. Option B, proximity to family and childcare support. Option C, new neighborhood novelty. Option D, ability to repaint walls. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. Now, the correct answer is B. Proximity to family and childcare support. Strong support networks provide practical and emotional benefits that reduce stress, lower indirect costs such as childcare and commuting, and improve routine stability for children. Consequently, here is a 7-step action plan. First, gather your loan details including rate, balance, payment, taxes, insurance, and any association dues. Second, calculate the buyout, including equity division and closing costs. Third, speak with your lender to explore a loan assumption or refinance paths that preserve the low rate. Fourth, stress test your budget using 3 scenarios: keep, rent, and rebuy later. Fifth, quantify your support network by estimating childcare savings, commute reductions, and reliability benefits. Sixth, adopt a bridge plan, such as a vetted roommate or a short leaseback to stabilize cash flow. Seventh, set a decision date and communicate the plan with all parties involved. Furthermore, here are quick Markdown-style notes to crystallize the principles. Treat any mortgage with a rate under 5% as a priority to keep unless your budget categorically fails. In many cases, the additional interest paid at higher market rates over years will exceed a $10,000 buyout. If your budget is tight, a roommate can add $600 to over $1,000 per month, depending on local market conditions. Also consider the hidden and disruptive costs of moving, including deposits, fees, time off work, and new furnishings. Finally, continuity for children, school, routines, and familiar surroundings supports a smoother adjustment. Additionally, the Mindmap should place the divorce housing decision at the center, then branch into 5 themes. Financials emphasizes sub-5% rates, the $10,000 buyout, transaction costs of selling, the risk of re-entering at higher rates, and the possibility of a roommate to bridge the budget. Stability covers nearby childcare, commute time savings, and continuity for children. Renting explores its lower upfront costs, but notes no equity and exposure to rent hikes. Actions include gathering facts, exploring assumptions or refinancing, stress testing the budget, and setting a timeline. The verdict branch reiterates, keep the home unless the budget collapses. Finally, here is the verdict. Unless your budget truly collapses, paying a modest buyout to retain the low-rate mortgage and the stability of your existing home is typically the optimal long-term strategy. The low interest rate functions as a valuable asset, and the nearby support network compounds its benefits. If needed, view renting or adding a roommate as a temporary bridge rather than a permanent solution when you possess such favorable financing. In summary, protect low-rate loans, evaluate the buyout against the long-run interest savings, and recognize the measurable value of stability and support networks. Understand the trade-offs of renting, consider a roommate as a temporary bridge if needed, and rely on a structured decision process rather than emotion alone. To wrap up, if your mortgage rate is below 5%, your default should be to keep it. A $10,000 buyout is often justified when compared to the interest savings over time. Stability for your family has tangible financial value. Treat rent as a temporary bridge, not a path to wealth. Execute your decision using a clear step-by-step plan. As a final note, thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe for more guides on smart financial decisions during life transitions. What would you do in this scenario? Keep or sell? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.